Thanks, Richard, for a great introduction. Makes it much easier for me to continue talking also about the App Store ecosystem, even though I will touch a slightly different topic, which is alternative app stores. A few words about myself. Started my career in FM radio, had my first encounter with mobile back in 2007 when I co-founded Daily Me, which is the leading mobile video, mobile TV service here in the German-speaking area. Left the company when we achieved break-even in 2010, and since that day I worked together with three great partners who are also here today, helping companies to succeed within their mobile services. What we take care of is usually the advice on the business side of things, so really figuring out what kind of content, idea, or solution you want to mobilize, what's the right platform, how does it look within a business plan. We take the project lead during development, then we handle user acquisition, mobile marketing campaigns for you, plus, in my opinion, the most important part, we take care and have a look on your mobile data, aka mobile analytics. When doing mobile marketing or user acquisition for clients, we face the same challenges you guys do or every other mobile developer has. Figuring out where to acquire the mobile user in the most cost-efficient way, obviously, plus having an effect at the end of the day in terms of reach and revenue. So in a very competitive environment, which is the App Store, plus facing rising costs in terms of acquisition costs, we have to take care of alternatives, thinking outside of the box, thinking different from mobile ads, push notifications, push networks, and so on and so forth. And that's why we came across a couple of years ago alternative app stores. Question to you guys, just to get you going a bit. Anyone has an idea what place is shown here on that picture? Panama Channel? That's right. From a developer's point of view, and in my own opinion, the Apple App Store as well as the Google Play Store is similar to the Panama Channel. If you're owner of a cargo ship, you want to reach your certain destination, you have to go through it. If you're a mobile developer and you want to reach your mobile audience, your users, you have to go through it as well. It's a kind of bottleneck on one hand, it's very competitive, it's expensive to get through. So owners of cargo ships as well as mobile developers have to have a look on alternative bypasses, other ways to get through the final destination or the users, and that's when alternative app stores come into play. Before I'm jumping into the details, as you probably know, Cydia, the marketplace for jailbreaked iOS applications, is the only significant one out there for the iOS ecosystem. So most of the data and stuff I'm showing is related to the Android platform, just because there are much more opportunities to realize when it comes to alternative app stores and app promotion, app distribution. When sitting down with a client and introducing him to the idea of alternative app stores, he's usually coming back and saying, Stefan, you know, we've heard about it, they have strange names, there are some somewhere in Asia, maybe some here in Europe. So what's really the deal? Why I should consider this being part of my app marketing portfolio? And I'd like to give you some reasons why and some answers to it. Well, first of all, there's extra distribution and less competition. This chart here shows the leading Android application stores out there in a certain order. Obviously, Google Play, the dominant player in that market with 2.5 billion monthly downloads. 2 years ago, you probably would have thrown me out because there would have been nothing to show here. In that roundabout time perspective of 2 years, some of those players have grown significantly, driving a download volume which comes close to 50% what Google Play is delivering worldwide. If you just take a look on the leading platforms and marketplaces in China combined. And when I say on one hand they give you extra distribution plus less competition, it's something you should realize when, for example, you have an app dedicated to a certain category or niche. So may it be a utility or an ebook or a security application, and you really drill down on one of those markets and figure out, okay, how many apps are there in my category? How many competitors are out there? Richard just mentioned that fact actually for FMCGs and drinking companies. So you see a lot less applications might be in that category, giving you an advantage when it comes to the download volume you are able to drive in such environments. I want to zoom in a little bit on China because obviously that's the dominating market, growing like crazy with the 300 million Android users by the end of this year in China. Interesting fact and some recent data from Yumang, 5.6%, so around about 6% of Android applications downloaded are distributed through the Google Play Store in China, whereas almost 73% are delivered through alternative app stores. There is an unofficial number stating that there might be something between 200 and 300 alternative marketplaces, app stores, only targeting Chinese users and audiences for Android. So that's an important part when running a campaign targeting China or targeting Chinese audiences. You have to go through those markets. But obviously there are also other players which are probably a good way to start when going into other areas. For example, Berlin-based Android Pit, already grown, doing a tremendous job here in Europe, already grown to a larger reach in around about 8 European countries. The last number I was able to get is that they have around about 10 million monthly active users. So if you're doing, app promotion or user acquisition here in Europe, you have to have a look on Android Pit. Jumping to Africa, MTN is running the Next App Store, which is their alternative app store platform, targeting Android users in Africa, in 9 African countries. Just for example, in Nigeria alone, they are able to acquire around about 3 million Android users every month. So reaching out to them, you have to go through such local player. Another example also from China is, also from Asia is Airtel. Airtel is a player, for example, in that case, who's able to give you access to around about 500,000 Android users in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, one of the fastest growing market when it comes to smartphone, especially Android adoption. Airtel has an app store combining a reach of 500,000 users every month, going to that place, downloading apps, discovering new apps from their platform. So if you really have a niche product or even a global campaign you're running and you want to go into specific markets after you launched maybe on Google Play, you want to accelerate your growth within a certain region, country or something, you have to find those players, identify their user profile, set up a certain targeted campaign, and so on and so forth to get reach or additional reach in those markets. Another reason, well, everyone would like to pay Apple and Google Play, obviously, to put the banner on the featured homepage of their stores, which, as we know, is not possible. But if talking to alternative app stores, you can run paid acquisition campaigns. You can run paid promotions with all those app stores out there. Mobango puts you on their featured list. Amazon App Store, I don't know if some of you have done the paid promotion with them. They give you a price list, they give you formats like the lock screen ad, they have store pickers, they have app of the day, app of the week. Just last week we ran a promotion with them for the Black Friday promotion. So anyone has done a promotion with Amazon App Store yet? One? Okay. So find the person at Amazon App Store, ask them for the price list. You can pay your way up in their ranks. There's an official offer out there. You get reviews if you talk to them, combining it with the upload on their store page to get extra visibility in their stores. And don't forget, still an important part when talking to such players, once in a while they give you access to phone users directly via a pre-installation case. Very interesting player is the Russian search engine Yandex with their recently launched, or let's say early this year launched Yandex store. They're pre-installed on on the phones of 6 Android handset makers. So the use case is user buys their phone, opens the phone, first screen, Yandex is installed, you open the Yandex icon, and bam, you get a certain amount of applications promoted. If you're one of them, you get one of the first eyeballs of a new Android user, which probably then is able to try out your app. Interesting also, they will be the exclusive store environment, or so to speak, app store for the Jolla Sailfish OS, which will be released till end of this year. Interesting use case. Another one, Social Mall, pre-installed on 5 million Android devices. So already grown also to a significant reach when it comes to distributing Android applications. Another reason, unlock new markets and revenues. As I said before, Google is really a special case. The reason why is that 2 years ago, or until 2 years ago, Google Play was not existent in the Chinese market. So all those local players had the opportunity, to reach out to users, acquire them, and build such reach. Still, as of today, you are not able to sell paid Android applications, and you are not able to use the Google Play payment API when doing business in China. So you have to go through one of the local players, use their payment solution, or something similar. Just as a side note, in Apple, or with Apple, you cannot sell apps in Serbia, Costa Rica, and Qatar, 3 countries, still not accessible for paid apps. So that's another reason, right? Unlock new markets. Plus, interesting enough, if you have a look on some cases when it comes to user spending behavior, may it be in-app purchases or paid applications. One of the cases I found is TinyCo, a game developer. They have a comparison here shown how the average revenue per user is doing in terms of smartphone and tablet distribution. That's the figure. Those are the figures above. When it comes to spending, behavior, and revenue per user in different stores, the interesting picture is given below, where you see that the average revenue from a user coming through the Amazon App Store is much higher than coming through iTunes or Google Play. So taking that in consideration, the challenges of paying users and revenues out of Google Play environments or Android in general. If you really tweak your app appropriately, if you identify the right market and the right store environment, might be a chance to get a higher revenue out of users coming through such platforms. And what I found also interesting is if you monetize via an advertising model within your Android application, keep in mind that the click-through or the click behavior for mobile ads in the regions differ. So for example, in that company, DG MediaMind, recently ran a survey comparing the click-through behavior in certain regions. In Europe, as I remember right, the average click-through on mobile banners is around about 1.1%, whereas in East Asia, it is around about 2.1. And now if you have a look on how people click mobile banners in China, you end up with an average number of 3%. Having that in mind, having a business model built on advertising, and then going through local players in those regions, you might see also an uplift on the performance of your banner ads built in your application. Keep that in mind, it's a revenue opportunity not be forgone. Well, just to be complete, branding might be an issue. If you're a global brand, if you're a global international publisher, if you want to be seen, recognized by various stakeholders, obviously the users, but maybe some partners, advertisers, sponsors, investors, you have to have a presence, so to speak, in more than one store to really play that game of branding your business, branding your app, building on top of that what such extra app store distribution can give you. Everything comes for a price. It's not easy to do that. When we run distribution campaigns through local stores or alternative app stores, we have to recognize a certain amount of manpower is involved because of the complexity and fragmentation, right? As I said before, if you just realize running or distributing your app in the 10 stores shown in that list, some stores require a JPEG for the icon. Others require a PNG format for your icon to be uploaded. Some have restrictions in characters when it comes to giving your app a certain name. That differs, that's a challenge obviously involved. There's no common standard on one hand. On the other hand, if you want to play that game really successful, you have to localize your metadata for those stores as well, which puts extra cost, extra resources into perspective. Keep that in mind. Additionally, to get everything is in sync in terms of timing is also a challenge, right? The release and the approval dates, the review dates and times differ between one of those stores or each of those stores. That's certainly an issue if you want to, run everything simultaneously. What we usually recommend is going live with Google Play or Amazon at the beginning, measure the impact you get, identify those markets and countries where you see traction, where you see a certain amount of downloads, and then setting up a strategy going forward with local players or different stores one by one. Never try to release your app in more than, let's say, 3 stores at the same time. It usually won't work because of those things in terms of reviews, upload times, approval processes, and so on and so forth. And obviously, as soon as you go live in those stores, you want to measure yourself, you want to see the traction you get, the download rates and whatsoever, to really get an aggregated view on your global performance in all those stores. It's also a challenge, right? Some give you a daily report, others do it on hourly basis, some have a CSV format to download, some others have nice dashboards. So it really gets kind of messy to get all the stores reported back to you after a certain time and compare them. Even though I want to also show you 2 tools, as far as I know, those are the only ones available, who can help you to overcome those challenges. Full disclosure, I'm advisor to the Codango team, a Sydney-based company. What they do basically is they provide a dashboard. You take your APK, you take all your metadata, you upload it to their dashboard, you choose the stores you want to publish, you hit the button and you go live. That's what they do. And the best part is, after you go live, they give you an aggregated report. So that's really helpful when working within the environment of alternative app stores. They can save you time due to the fact that the whole upload process is handled by them, the same way they do when you have an update coming. They give you the reporting plus, and I think Codango is a really really good player in that field. If you want to do individually some promotion with one of those stores or a couple of those stores, these guys can leverage their partnership because they know those players inside out. They have the API ready. They know the price lists. They're a good starting point to get going also with paid promotion within those store environments. So when talking to them, keep that in mind too. They don't have only their service available. They also have a kind of access to certain ads and promotional places within those stores. That's the basic part, or the theory. I've tried to come up also with some case studies here. On one hand, I cannot disclose all the things we do for clients, and it's kind of hard also to get really valid data from certain developers, but I found three ones which can give you an understanding how much volume you can expect, or how setting up a campaign in one of those stores. The first one is DailyMe. They are on the Samsung Top App Store, targeting Germany only. Samsung has its own App Store environment. The Android Week was, next to listed in the store, extensively promoted for a time period of 8 weeks at the beginning of this year. They had various features within the store, some social media posts. I give you some visuals to that. They had promotional banners, email newsletters were sent out. Samsung users of the Top App Store were seeing and getting in touch with DailyMe quite a lot. Social media posts with some nice pictures on top of that. The results were the following. In Germany, on Android, DailyMe usually drives a high five-figure number of weekly downloads. That's Android overall. 25% is, since that campaign was run, delivered through the Samsung Top App Store. So now realizing your own download numbers, either on a weekly or a monthly base, giving you in a perspective what Samsung in Germany can do for you if done right. Another application is the Tanken app, a gasoline price comparison app here in Germany, promoted through a very special and specific alternative app store, so to speak. Telekom runs this Top Apps program, which is not the app store per se, but it is a kind of environment where you get hosted and featured within a specific Google Play page branded in the Telecom layout. Plus, on top of that, they give you a certain other promotional tools on the web, in their mobile applications, cross-promoting your app, featuring you in newsletters, or, like they've done here, sending out SMSs to their Android users. They were sending out within a 24-hour time frame almost 760,000 SMS to their Android users, targeted, promoting this application. By the end of the day, you receive something like this. And on top of that, you're integrated, in their specific Google Play page, which is called Telecom Highlights. So every Telecom user who has an Android and a SIM card from T-Mobile inside gets access to that store environment. And what they have achieved is a 2% download conversion from the 759,000 SMS sent out. They were able to drive within 1 day 15,200 downloads. The impact it had here in Germany was an increase in the overall category by 100 ranking points, and they ended up in their category in the top 5. So just to reflect what you've done in terms of paid acquisition, in terms of mobile marketing for your Android app, in a very isolated market, obviously, but that's what they achieved. And the last use case I was able to get is about, probably all of you know, Cut the Rope, one of their latest releases. was Cut the Rope Experiments. They launched simultaneously in 12 alternative Android stores. In those 3 stores shown here, that's SlideMe, that's Getjar, and Mobango, they've been able at the beginning to generate 3 million downloads additionally to what they've done in all the other stores, including Google Play. And now they're on a run rate of 10 to 15% when you take also the other stores they are using into consideration. 10 to 15% additional Android downloads on top of their Google Play performance. That's what they've been able to achieve using alternative app stores. So, yeah, the takeaways. As I said, extra distribution, really figure out where are your users, where are the markets you want to accelerate your growth, accelerate your download rate, identify the respective alternative app stores within those markets, think paid promotion in those marketplaces, think additional things like social media through their platform, think about SMS cases like I've shown when it comes to players like the telecom top apps marketplace, and keep in mind that you have to identify really the potential reach you can gather to have a basis for figuring out what you also able to justify in terms of the resources, the time, the money you spend on setting up for those stores. And last but not least, within the portfolio of mobile marketing, paid user acquisition, alternative app stores can give you an edge over competitors. So think a little bit wider than the usual banners, push promotions, CPI performance deals to utilize really a really cost-efficient environment which can drive your app even further and make your business more successful. Thank you very much. Sure.
Okay, we've got a few more minutes to go, so maybe we can have a couple of questions for Stefan, if anyone's got any, specifically on this topic of alternative app stores. He'll be on the general panel later. Any questions right now? If you just raise your hand.
There, one. Two.
John Grotting from Caramelized in Hamburg. We seldom hear mention of Windows. Android, yes, but very little about Windows. Where is that? Is that so minimal that there's no reason to waste time there?
Well, I would say spending attention, time, and budget on the Windows marketplace to figure out how to grow there is probably more essential than finding alternative app stores for the Windows Phone environment, due to the fact that the overall performance compared to Android, obviously, and iOS of the Windows platform is still lagging behind, and therefore, focusing on getting the best out of the Microsoft/Nokia environment is certainly key. And honestly speaking, I would not know any bigger player, maybe other than Getjar, who has a significant reach already gathered, because also the Windows Phone platform is much younger than the two others, already gathered some momentum in terms of being an alternative source for extra downloads for the Windows Phone platform.
Hi, I'm Timo, Kiss My Ads. I was wondering about the Chinese app stores. Is any of those from an operator?
All of those are independently run. China Mobile has one, but I have to look it up. All those shown here were independently run or recently acquired by Baidu, for example, one of them. China Mobile, I think, acquired one too recently, but I don't know the name.
Okay, Korea. I actually wanted to ask the Distimo guy about the Korean app store. Is there SK Telecom, I think, had or used to have a big store? Is it still significant?
Yeah, it is. If you really look only within, Korea to get some additional source, SK has its own App Store environment.
Thanks.
Okay, another question here.
Hi, I was wondering, I'm Chuck Smith, and I was wondering, I've heard before that China is rampant with piracy. Is that still the case, or is that something to worry about?
It's still the case. So if you release, you can see that if you release a paid app on Google Play, immediately, the free copies pop up in all those stores in China. It's an issue you have to deal with when it comes to your monetization model and business model, right? If you have a paid app and solely depend on the revenues generated from selling this app, I probably would not recommend you to put it just simply for free in the store if you not have built in an alternative model, may it be advertising, may it be in-app purchase or whatsoever. But so still, it is an issue, obviously.
Are the in-app purchases also cracked, or is that generally not so?
Well, if you integrate with, for example, China Mobile's payment system, then this can give you a certain layer of protection. There's always there are always ways to jailbreak or crack certain payments or in-app purchase offers. But obviously, if you work then with those local players, they can give you not only the access to their users, but also additional tools, APIs, SDKs, which are a little bit more, with all respect, which are more secure than just going by yourself and trying to setting up your own stuff there.
Okay, any more burning questions? We got time for one more.
Hi, my name is Roger Kimmick. I'm from GrabFine. What's the pricing model of the alternative app stores? Because you mentioned you can do banners, you can do CPI performance campaigns, and you can do some push with discoveries. So how does, being an advertiser, which I'm not, but as an advertiser, what's the added value working price-wise through alternative app stores, please?
So those stores have two revenue streams they're making money from. A is selling ads to you if you're an advertiser, promotions, featured campaigns. The other one is a lot of them are also providing their services to telcos and operators. So white label app store environments, sourcing certain apps for special pages within the operator's ecosystem. That's where they get paid for as well. Was that answering the question?
I was just wondering what would be my effective CPI working with the alternatives.
So compared to acquiring users through other channels, what we've seen is if you do it on a local level, not trying to leverage everything through various global stores, then it can be probably up to or down, other way around, down to 50% more cost-effective compared to, for example, an AdWords campaign or mobile search or the traditional CPI models you use within those markets. Right? Targeting opportunities are great. You really identify immediately those are Android users with a significant appeal towards Android applications, so you go for it within this channel, reduces your acquisition costs significantly, 50%.
Okay, well, we'll have time for some more questions during the panel. Another big round for Stefan for such a great presentation.